Hello, welcome back. So in this video, we'll be talking about Flexbox. Flex allows you to design a very responsive and flexible site or a web page. So here, what you are going to do first is to create our file. So I'm going to name it. Coming, sorry. So I'm going to name it Flexbox. And name it any name and give it any name of your choice. HT. So I'm going to give it a title of Flexbox. So in the body, so the first thing you create is your Flex container, a div of Flex container. So inside the container, I'm going to have 12 items. So it depends on the items you want to have inside. You may decide to have image items or word item. It depends on what you want to have inside, what you want to create inside. So I'm going to create 12 items inside the Flex container. So I'll give it a. So I'm just listing this. So you see the reason why I'm just listing this without giving each div a class name. You see the reason soon. Then F G H. Sorry. I J K and L. So let's see what we have before we proceed. So this is what we have, right? So here I'm making use of internal styling. So before you can do anything, like if you are working with Flex, before anything, you have to give it a display Flex. That is the class. So I want to style this class now. That is the container, right? The Flex container. So I'm going to use so for it to display Flex or for the style you want to apply to it to you want to um you want to apply to it to be reflective. So you have to give it display Flex because you are working with Flex. If not, the style will not display. It will not show on the page. So this display Flex. So I'm giving it a background color. I'm giving it a background color. So I'm giving it a background color. What is wrong with this? I'm giving it a background color of, let's say, this. So let me just reduce it. So let's see what we have. That is the container now, right? Flex container. So this is what we have. So now let's remove this flex. You see that it will not show. Let's comment and see. So it's actually appeared. I'm coming. So but we just need to give it this display flex. So display flex. So I'm going to style the items. I'm going to style the items now. So I don't want to give it, initially we are supposed to give it class name, the each item class name, right? Then style it, right? But here I'm going to teach you another method, another way you can do that. Like if you want to have uniform style for all the items without giving it a class name, right? So this is how to do it. You just copy this container name, the class name here, you paste it, then greater than sign, then div. No, they are divs, right? The items are rounded in with div, right? So we have the items inside each opening and closing div. So that is why we are naming it div. So I'm going to give it background color. So background color of let's give it this. So each item we have that background color. So let me give it margin so that you can see margin of 10 pixels. So let's see. You can see they all have the background color. So I'm giving it width. I'm giving it width of 100 pixels. Let's see. You can see. So let's give it height also of 100 pixels. 100 pixels. So you have 100 pixels, right? So you can see. So now we want to make the want to center the items. So align, oh sorry, text align, center. So let's see. You can see. So but I want to create space at the top. So I'll just give it line height. So line height is to create space between words. Line height, let me give it 80 pixels. It depends on what you want to achieve. So this is it. So now we have our flex properties. Flex properties includes flex direction, flex wrap, flex flow, justify content, content, and the likes. So here, the first thing we are going to make use of is first example is flex direction, right? So we have flex direction column. So this will present the items vertically, right? So when we say row, flex direction row, we present the items horizontally. You can see this is a default presentation of the items. So, and another one we have is, so we have column reverse. You can have row reverse. So row reverse will reverse the you can see because now it started with letter L. So initially it started with letter A. You can see it started with letter L A and ended with letter A. So that is reverse. So you can also do that. We also have reverse column as well. So another thing, okay, let's see. Let me show you something. You can see if we reduce this screen size now, the items are shrinked, right? So in order not to make this shrink, in order to create space, so to wrap it when necessary, so we use a flex wrap. So flex wrap will wrap it when necessary, especially when you are reducing it actually makes it more responsive on different screen sizes. So let's see. Okay, let me remove the flex direction first. So you can see what I meant. So this is it. So when you reduce the screen size, you can see everything wrapped. So it makes it more much more responsive. So instead of you using positioning, float, and float, so you can just use flex wrap to make it more responsive. So we also have, okay, flex wrap. We also have the reverse and all that. You can also use flex wrap reverse. So let's see. So did you see? So when we reverse it now, so you know it ended with A initially, right? So but when we reverse it started with A, like the third line started with A, B, C, D. Initially, it was, let me see, let's remove the reverse so that you can understand what I'm trying to say here. So you can see A, B, C, D. So but when you add, if we add the reverse now, the reverse, so you can see. So that is the work of wrap reverse. So and the another one we have is flow. So instead of you to use flex direction and flex wrap, you can easily just use, you can simply just use flex flow. So it's just like a shortcut, like a shorthand for a shorthand property for flex direction and flex wrap, flex flow. So if you say flex flow row wrap, wrap, so this is it. So okay, let's remove this. So it will still be the same thing anyway, but I just want to show you so you can see, right? So if you now leave it now, if you now uncomment it, you can see. So we still have the same thing like when we used the flex direction and the flex wrap. So instead of you using the two, you can just use this one to represent it. So another thing is we have another thing we'll talk about is the justification. So justify content. So justify content we have center. So this represents the items. It presents the items horizontally. So horizontally and vertically. So but align is vertically, while justify is horizontally. So we have center. So I'm going to reduce the number of items because if not, you will not see the effect of this. So I'm reducing the number of items so that you can see it clearly. So let's see. So you can see this is justify content center. I'm going to increase the height of this the height of the container. Let me just increase the height. Let's say 500 pixels. So you can see, just like I said earlier, when you say justify content, so it display the contents, the items horizontally, right? So this is it. It's justify content center now. So let me use start. Let's say start. So let's see what we have. We can see from it started from the left. So it shifted the items to the left. So let's say end. Let's see what we have. So this is what we have. So now the next thing we'll talk about is so this justify content actually work. Okay, let's say space around. You also have space around. Let's see, space around. So you can make use of this instead of margin. But the only advantage that you have using margin is that you have control over the space you are going to create around it. But with space around, you don't have control over the space created, right? So, but when you use margin, you have space, you have control. this is like 70 or 80 margin pixels, 80 pixels of margin. But with this space around, you don't have you don't have control over the space. But with margin, you can reduce it to like 10, 20, up to the number you want. So that is that. So you also have space between. Space around created, let's see. Space around created space. There's space here and in between and the other side, right? So let's see space between now. Space between. So space between did not create, it only created space in between the items, not around it. There was space here and there was space here when we use space around, right? So that is that. So you can make use of this if you want to create even space around or between your items. So that is that about justification, justify content. So now we have align content. So this align content, justify content. I say it presents the items, the flex items horizontally, but these align items will present the items vertically. So I'm commenting this. So you have center. So just like the same property with that of justify content, you can see. So, but when we applied the justify content, it was here, right? That means it presented it horizontally. But now when we use align item center, it presented it vertically, but still at the center of the div of the space, right? So here, so we also have start and be flex start or at anyone. So you can see it started from the top. So when we use flex end, sorry, align items and it can be flex end. So you can see. But when we applied it here on the justify content the other time, it was somewhere else. So, but when we said aligned, when we are using align now, it is here. So start is here. So when we use end the other time, it started here and it ended here. The justify content ended here, but the start was here and the end was here. But here, the start was at the top and the end is below now. So that is that. So you can also there is also stretch. You can also say stretch, justify content, align content stretch. So it's supposed to, maybe it's because I increased the height of this, so it's supposed to stretch to the beginning. But I just want you to know that to the end, sorry. I just wanted to know that we have property for the align items that is called stretch. So the another thing we are going to talk about is align content. So align content also have space between. Let's use align content. Let's even see what we have before we go to the align content. So we have align content space, sorry, space between, space around. Let's see what we have. So it's created the space. I'm coming. Let me just, I think, I don't know what I have that is showing. Okay, let me increase the items. Sorry. So it's actually the effect actually reflects when you reduce the size, the screen size. So let's see what we have now. So let's reduce it. So you can see this is what I was trying to say. So it creates space in between them, like line by line, it creates space when you are using align content. So it creates space in between the lines of a group of items, right? So that is, I think that is space around. So when you say space between, I say space between. Let's see what we have. You can see. So space around was it has a space at the top, space at the bottom, and space between. But space between has only have space between, not space at the top or at the bottom. You can see. So when you reduce the side screen is when you see the effects of these properties. You can see. So that is that. So the last thing we are going to talk about here, we are only talking about the flex container now, right? The properties you can apply to the flex container. That's what we've been discussing. So the last thing we are going to discuss here on the flex container is how to make your how to make everything to be centered perfectly. So if you want to make everything to be centered perfectly, so all you just have to do is to use the justify content center and align item center. So this you uncomment, you say center, right? So and also give this center, justify content center. So it will make your make the items to be more centered when you use both at the same time. So this is it. So I don't want this video to be unnecessarily long. So we are going to continue. I'm going to make a part two of this to explain how we can style the items inside the flex container. So this is where we'll stop here. Thank you.